Okay, sorry about that, but I was just kind of saying to you guys that are listening. Hey Tammy, hey guys, that you guys are listening when you watching, whether you watch it live or on the replay. I'm glad I kind of waited because there's 5 more people that just came on. So, as I said, Lisa, a couple weeks ago, Lisa and I went to the Building Depth event. We're going to the one in December too. We've already made our plans and everything. We're super excited about that. And you guys have known we've been talking about it for a couple weeks. We do, and so James is new to the call, and I'll introduce him here in a second, but we like to do the first half where we talk about things that we're excited about, and then we do a little bit of personal development and stuff at the end. Tonight I've got some really good stuff that I'm going to share with you guys at the end. But I texted my friend James Hyden to come on tonight because he's one of the leaders in Building Depth. Him and I are brothers in Christ together. I've been watching his journey from the very beginning. I know that he lives out in Indiana. I know he's probably getting prepared for the cold season coming. I know that I kind of love being in Indiana and Ohio, being from Ohio this type of year, because I can play golf and not sweat. Today I played golf and I sweated. So, but the big picture about what Lisa and I took about building depth, and we shared this with you guys the last couple weeks. As I said, we had Blue on, and we had Dave Madison on, and we've had some Tony on. It's just a tear-off sheet. And one of the things that I took away from the tear-off sheet is I've been using it, and it's simple. It's easy. It's getting back to the basics of things that make it so every single person doesn't feel like they have to reinvent the wheel. And one of my big takeaways from it was, and I remember how people were saying, there's 15 tear-off sheets, right? So you're going to know whether the person has done 15 presentations that month. And I think back to the very beginning when we first got in LifeVantage, when Seth Mulder and Mark Shinsato used to say that they folded up a tear-off sheet, put one in their right back pocket and one in their left back pocket, and everywhere they went, they just pulled it out and did a presentation. Now, when you think about that, I don't know about you guys, but that seems pretty easy and duplicatable to us, and we know that we're capable of doing it. And we're having growth now again, Lisa and I, with expectations like we did back in 2011 when we first started. And so I asked James to come on today and just tell us a little bit about his story and about what Building Depth has done for him, because he'd never done network marketing before, never wanted to do network marketing before, just like the majority of us. But I know that, and I'm not going to speak for him, but I believe James and I are like-minded in many different ways when it comes to life. Not just from, he's a family man, he's a hard-working guy, he's a man of faith. He loves God with all his heart and mind and soul and strength. And he's just a real guy. And those are the type of guys that Lisa and I want to do life with. We realize that when it comes to business and life, we can't do business with everybody. We can't be like-minded with everybody. There's going to, the old saying, 80% of the work is done by 20% of the people. I believe James Hyden is one of those 20% of the people. And that's why when today I was praying, I always pray about who to invite on. I invited him. I didn't know if he was going to be able to get on. He was able to get on. So I'm going to unmute him, and I'm just going to have him share a little bit of his story, and just have. This is James Hyden. He's a Pro 7 from, I forget where in Indiana. James, where are you in Indiana at?
Macy, Indiana.
Wow, where is Macy, Indiana, man? Tell me about it.
We got 30 people in our town.
You and your wife and your kids take up most of them, right?
We are a quarter of the population. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's about an hour and a half north of Indianapolis. So between Indianapolis and South Bend. So.
Okay. Awesome. Go Hoosiers.
Yeah. Well, thanks for allowing me to be on here. It's a privilege. Michael and Lisa, you guys have been in, and I've always looked up to you guys. And, we do share a common father together in Christ. So that's pretty special, So, yeah, like Michael said, it's never done network marketing. It's an honor to be able to teach people and to help people. And I got to pinch myself that I'm even on this call helping you, Michael, because I mean, you guys have been in for a while, and you guys are experts at this. But as you know, it's you can always learn something. And that's what I love about this business is you can always learn something. So my story is been in for 4 years. Got invited to come to a meeting by my brother-in-law who lived in Phoenix, Arizona, and I live in Indiana. You know, I'm a man and I'm a police officer at that time, so I had a lot of pride. So my brother-in-law didn't really have enough guts to call me. He called my wife and said that he'd like to come from Phoenix, Arizona to Indiana. Well, that sounds pretty strange. And by the time she got off the call, I knew that it was an all-natural product, that it was network marketing, and they were coming after me for a business, guys. And those were all 3 strikes in my book. Thought of all-natural pills and medicine as voodoo. You know, network marketing, never saw anybody succeed in it. Thought it was more of a chick thing, like you have your Tupperware party, your Pampered Chef party, a candle party. You know, my wife had went to those things, and you know, she ordered the cheapest thing out of the magazine so she didn't hurt her girlfriend's feelings. The host, you know, gets their product a little bit of a discount or completely free if they get enough people there. And I get a little bit now. It's a chance to get away from us guys and the kids. But it's not business to me because time was money. And then as far as business, guys, I was not looking for another business. So I wasn't just a police officer. I mean, most people, that's a full-time job, and it was for me as well. And that was 50, 60 hours a week. But I also raise white-tailed deer. So I'm a deer farmer, deer breeder. So I have 100 white-tailed deer. Like in the spring, we bottle feed 30, 40 fawns for 12 weeks, 3 times a day. I also raise dogs. I raise basset hounds, bloodhounds, and Neapolitan mastiffs. Okay. And I didn't just have one dog. I had 10 to 15 puppies on the ground all the time. We had 15 adult dogs. Wow. I also had a picture-taking business, and I also delivered feed to the Amish. And I'm full-time in our church. So if the church doors are open, we're there. And I'm supposed to be a husband of 1 and a father of 3. And so like many of you guys, I was just doing whatever it took to provide for my family. Like, you know, we've been blessed. My wife has always been a stay-at-home mom since we started making babies, you know, and that's what we wanted. I just didn't realize how hard it was to pay for braces, insurance, cars, you know, just stuff to get around. And, you know, I felt like I was doing everything I could possibly do. We had some good moments in business, and some bad moments. I mean, it was like feast and famine, you know, but I got to help a lot of people as a police officer. When you think about it, if the Lord is your Savior, when's the most time that people come to accept Christ is when they're at their very lowest moment. Okay. So I got to meet people on some of their worst days. Okay. So the Lord used me there, and that was great. But, I was feeling like I was a hypocrite, and it might not make any sense, but if you know much about church and you go there for a few years and you read your Bible, you start talking the lingo, you start acting the way you're supposed to act. And we say things like, oh, hey, I'll be praying for you. And I know, I guess what I'm trying to say is I know what the Bible says. Well, I knew what the criminal code in Indiana said too. I went to police academy for 16 weeks. I was a police officer for 12 years. So I could tell everybody what the law was. But what you'll learn in life is saying and doing are 2 different things. Okay. So I got really good at telling people how they should live and what they should do and who they should put first in their lives. But I was a really bad example of that because I didn't know how to time. I wanted to take my kids on daddy-daughter dates. I wanted to teach my son chivalry, right? I wanted to teach my daughters the kind of guys to date. I wanted to, you know, my wife married me for more than my name. And basically we had conversations for a few years before we ever got introduced to Life Vantage. Like, something's got to change. You know, you're never home. I feel like I'm raising these kids by myself. She'd say things like, I love you. She'd tell me, you love them dogs more than you love me. I really, honestly, I mean, I like the dogs, but I didn't love her more than her. But the thing is, they got more time than my own family did, right? And it is rough to always control a balance of business and family time and God time. It's always rough. But I wasn't getting further ahead. And so I wasn't looking for no network marketing thing is the point of that whole conversation. And so I at first said I wasn't going to go to no dumb meeting. My wife said I was going to go and I was going to be good, which meant sit on the couch and keep my mouth shut because I love to argue. I like to be right, and I love to play devil's advocate, right? Okay, that I just fun for me. And so I went to this meeting. I was the only one there. They pushed play on ABC primetime. It meant nothing to me. It was over my head, and they sat me on the couch. And if you sit me on the couch, I'm out like a rock. So I fell asleep during the ABC primetime. Okay. Well, as you know, my brother had only been in the business 2 weeks. So the only thing he really knew how to say was push play on the video because he didn't know anything else. So they pushed play twice, fell asleep both times, guys. Was not for me. Didn't get it. In the police world, like I had never heard of Nerf 1, Nerf 2, oxidative stress, free radicals. Like I thought free radicals were Republicans and Democrats. Okay. But yet, even though I wasn't in the health industry, when you run with police and fire every day, you learn a lot of medical terms. Oxidative stress was not one of those terms. Nerf 1, Nerf 2, those were not terms that I was familiar with. So I told my brother-in-law, hey, thank you for thinking of us, but it's not for us. And so we go home that night, and everything was good until my wife said, honey, I'd really like to try those products. And I said, honey, absolutely not. I said, that stuff's voodoo, and it's a pyramid thing, and we don't do stuff like that. The Christian way that my wife fights with me is she doesn't really argue back too much. She doesn't slap me or spit on me or break stuff. The Christian way that I guess they're taught is the whole cold silent treatment. So my wife gave me the old guilt trip, and she came upstairs, laid on her side of the bed, and acted like she was sleeping. So that was my clue that I was in the doghouse, right? And I've also learned, being married for 18 years, that if I go upstairs right away to try to fix it, it's still hot and it doesn't quite turn out very good. But if you wait too long, you're an insensitive jerk and I don't care about her. So I timed this thing right, and it was very effective. I did feel guilty. My wife struggled with several things. Most people probably don't know what GERD is, but it's like acid reflux on steroids. We'd take her to the emergency room because she thought she was having heart attacks. It controlled our lives. She had chronic fibromyalgia that would actually bed rest her. On one of our pregnancies, she was bed rested the entire time except for the first 5 weeks of the pregnancy. After that, they gave our baby a 10% chance of living, but God had a different plan in that. But in between that 9 months, we had a 3-year-old, and I had to learn how to be crockpot king, how to do dishes, laundry, have the house picked up, come home from work, and it's destroyed because my wife can't do anything. And so it was a humbling time for me, guys, because sometimes as a man, you think you can fix everything. That was a point in my life where I had no control. It was completely up to the Lord whether he was going to let us have our son Jordan or not. And that's a humbling experience when you can't do anything and you realize that it's completely dependent on what the Lord wants for you. And so I finally came upstairs and I said, fine, honey, I'll get your dumb products, but I'm not doing this business. And so that's what we did. I got her on the products. My wife started seeing some pretty amazing results within a few weeks. I don't want to make it seem like a night and day difference or she went from bedridden to, jumping off trees or something like that. It wasn't like that, but there was significant difference there. But me being a skeptic, I didn't know if it was a placebo effect, if it was real, if it's because it came from her side of the family, But a couple things happened a couple months into it. I have a friend and a business partner, and we had he's Amish, and I had taken pictures for him selling puppies, and he basically told me, we went out there to buy greenhouse flowers, and he said, James, come back next week because I know you love deals, and we're closing up shop. And I said, well, what's wrong? And he said, I have something called lupus and mixed connective tissue disease. He said, I've struggled with it for 10 years. He said, the last few years have been pretty rough. He said, I've went to Mexico, got chelation treatments. I've done everything pharmaceutical. He goes, the doctors don't know if I have 6 weeks or 6 months to live, but things aren't good. And he was losing blood through his scrotum. His legs were black, like circulation problems, like a roadkill deer. All right. And I almost said something to him about Protandim, but remember, guys, I wasn't sold out to this and I hadn't done my research and I didn't want to lose friends. So you know what? Fear paralyzes. We should witness about the Lord all the time. But when we don't know something or we're afraid somebody's going to laugh at us, we get fear. Well, you know what? I got fear and I didn't say anything. So we hopped back in my car and my lovely wife was with me. And, in my ear, she's been saying Protandim, Protandim, Protandim. She said, why aren't you talking to him about it? I said, I don't know what to say. And she goes, can you at least just show them the ABC primetime? Just that's what Jason says to do. So I kind of got pushed out of my car, and I don't know what I said exactly. I fumbled with my words, but the point was to get him to watch the ABC primetime. And he got it, guys. He had lived that world. He knew what antioxidants and free radicals and Nerf 1 protein. I mean, this was stuff that he had been trying to get help with. So he says, I'll give you 6 months. So month 1, Toby didn't get any better. He actually got worse. Month 2, he said, James, I'm going to sleep at night just taking 2 a leave. That wasn't a big deal to me. I put my head on the pillow. I'm out like a rock. All right. But to him, his body never repaired itself. See, part of your body goes to sleep at night. Another part of your body wakes up to repair itself. And so month 3, he said, this is something I can endorse. And he asked me to go up and talk to a Raymond Byler in Michigan, his nephew that had an MS. Well, MS hit home because in the police department, we do a lot of lift assists. Okay. And I had seen the progression of the diagnosis to the headaches, to the cane, to the walker, to the bed. I never have seen it go from the bed to the walker to the cane to headaches that way, right? So at that point, I did 2 things that's hard for a man to do. I went back to my wife and said, honey, you were right, and I'm sorry. And I said, this is a publicly traded company, so I was a little smart there that, you can say how much money you're making all the time. There's really no facts to back it up or how many distributors you have, but you turn something into the Federal Trade Commission, it better be right or they're going to shut you down. And I said, honey, somebody's making incredible money at this. Why not us? I said, I know the products work. All right. I know this business thing. I just didn't know if I could do it. I didn't know if I could go from arresting people for selling pills to actually selling pills. Okay. But when I got myself out of the way and I tied into this system, it replaced my police income in 6 months. All right. And this is what I do full time now. I love it. One of the most special things about this, I make a lot of money and I'm very thankful to that, but that's not really why I got into this. I wanted to be a dad and a father. And, I just got done going on a big bike ride with my oldest daughter. We just made a shrimp, bacon, egg, little stir fry, I guess you'd call it, just a little bit of time because mama's teaching piano lessons tonight at the church. And we just had a little father-daughter date. I would have never, ever had time to take a few hours out of my day to spend time with the people that are most important to us. And my kids know their true mama. If you live in pain or know people that do all the time, I don't care how nice you are, it's hard and you get grouchy, you get snappy at the best, I could say. And that's all my 2 youngest ones knew. All right. So today they got a healthy, happy, loving, caring mama, and I got a happy wife. That whole saying that if mama ain't happy, there ain't nobody happy. That is so true. Okay. So that's my story. I've built the majority of my business push and play on the ABC primetime and calling somebody on an upline phone call to help me out. Right. Even to this day, guys, that's what I do. If I met with Michael and Lisa for the first time, I'd tell them my story. At first, my story was, I don't know what I'm doing. I know some people this is working for. It's starting to work on my wife. I'm going to show you this video. When I'm done, I'm going to call Jason or Dave or somebody, whoever I was going to use that day, and they're going to explain everything. And literally, as soon as the ABC primetime got done playing, I literally had Jason on speed dial, and I said, hey, Jason, this is Michael and Lisa. I just showed them the ABC primetime. I don't know if they have any questions. And I literally just hand my phone to them, and then Jason would take over from there. And, it doesn't really matter what works. There's lots of people, especially in our business, that are doing lots of different things, and they all have a different system. And I'm not going to tell you that any of those are wrong, okay? But it doesn't matter what works. It matters what duplicates. And if you can make it so simple with those tear-off sheets, all right, and you always say what you say, do what you say you're going to do, and you be that leader that you're looking to find. What I love about building depth, basically I got invited to go about a couple years ago, probably maybe a year and a half ago, maybe. And I was stuck at 38,000. Like I did pretty good through the hoops at first, and then I got stuck. And no matter what I did, I couldn't get past that. And got tied into building depth, got to go out there, got to hear the stories of how long it took to find, a Clinton Boyles and a Tony Kashowitz and Everett Schilling and then Sherry Hollenbach. I mean, I got to see it drawn out in the circles and how long it took. And it had all these principles tied in at one meeting for me and kept it simple. And what I love about building depth is it's the same thing we've been talking about ever since I've been tied in. And the same thing I've been taught by Jason and Dave Madison. We don't have change to the club week. I know that people think the ABC primetime is old. All I know is it worked back then. It's still working today, and that's how I built my entire business. I'm not saying that there's not other videos that you can use. I just don't use them, okay? I love the corporate video, but you know how many times I've shown that new video since it's been out? 0 times, okay? Because for me, what built my whole business, what built my legacy, what got me to where I am is showing the ABC primetime, using that tear-off sheet, and just following the basic steps that anybody can do. Because Jason came out from Denver, Colorado to Indiana, right, 8 times. I thought there was some catch to that. He was going to come from there to here to help me build my business. Like, that was crazy to me. Like, I'd never seen anything like that. I thought there was some catch at the end. But when Jason wasn't here, he said, James, can you push play on a video and call me? I said, yeah. And that's what I teach my team. So, I mean, I could share with you a lot more, but
no, dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. No, James, I don't know if you know this, but this is really cool. I think this is just why we're so much like-minded is I was recruited by Daniel Bernard, who's a Pro 8 in this company, and he just created a movie that my wife and I had the opportunity to play in, which was really cool. And we're probably going to show it at convention, which we're working out, and I'll get you guys more up to date on when that's going to happen. I think it's going to happen on Thursday. But guys, one of the coolest things is we went through the same thing. That Daniel called me every single Friday for week after week after week after week and said, hey, I want you to watch a video. And I said, no, not watching the video. Just send it to me. And he did the right thing the whole time. He said, no, I'm not going to send it to you because I want you to hear it the way I heard it. You're too smart for just, I know what you're going to do. You're just going to watch a little bit of it. And then, so what he did is he went through her to get us to meet them for dinner. And when we got there, he had a laptop with some headphones set up. And I was like, oh, I'm going to have to watch that video, right? And I was like, and I look, and Daniel's all happy and smiling. And we get there, and as soon as the video's done playing, he has Brandon Cunningham on speed dial. Like, here, and I start talking, and I said, well, let my wife talk to you. And then I hand the phone over to my wife. Now, it's really funny, and I'm not holding this. This was a really cool thing. This was a squeegee bottle that a Pro Tandem squeegee bottle, right? That my wife used to make all of her patients hold. When she'd do their blood test. So they would ask what this was, right? Now we know that was really smart, and we know how to get people to that next step. So I'm super excited that you guys got a chance to hear James's story. And James, why don't you do this before you go? Why don't you just talk about the importance of, even though it's a sacrifice, talk about the importance of that event that's coming up. Even though we have convention, everybody needs to be at convention. It's a non-negotiable, which I've heard you say numerous times. But just the importance of a couple weeks later, finishing off the year, in Utah with building depth, and what that does to people's businesses and what you've seen it do for your business. How you said you were at 38,000. What happened after that? You didn't finish the story. So finish that before you go.
Yeah. So guys, I know if you're like me, like I didn't even want to go to the first Life Advantage Academy. Like mine was in San Antonio, Texas. I was doing pretty good. I didn't want to go to an event. I'm so cheap that my brother-in-law and Jason pitched in for my hotel room and my plane tickets. The only reason I went, guys. Right? Halfway through it, I texted Jason. I said, thank you. I will never miss another one. All right. So Michael's right. Convention, the corporate events are non-negotiable. If you have to choose between going to convention and coming to building depth, go to convention. Okay. No doubt about it. And I know events are expensive, and I know it's hard to get people there, But if you want to know one of my main weaknesses is I've been a bad promoter most of this career. Because I'm just have a hard work ethic. So I was like, if you want to make excuses, fine, I'll let you. And I did not follow up with the promotion part as hard as I should have, because those are life-changing events. Okay, guys. But I know it's expensive. But tell me, maybe you're not like me, okay? Because you guys maybe been in for a long time, maybe I've been. But we used to have these things called pro audios that now we call master tracks, okay? And my superheroes, if you will, and I mean that in a good way, okay, is Marcel Niederhauser, Tony Krashowitz, Clinton Boyles, Sherry Hollenbeck, Dave Madison, all those guys in one room, and I have access to them, and they're going to tell me all the tips of the trade. It's amazing. And the ticket to get there is $25. All right. They're not there to make money. They're there to invest in us. And now, since I've been born through building depth, if you will, as they call me. So I went from 38,000 stuck. And I can't tell you that they told me anything different other than just making it more simple, drawing little circles on the board, being themselves, getting around to pick their brain and hang out with them, and the tear-off sheets, just the duplication a part of it, and knowing that it might take 9 months to find my next leader, or you know what, it might take 3 years. And this is a kind of side note, and you don't say the devil, but I know that the devil plays with my mind sometimes.
Of course he does.
And I found that Toby guy I told you about. He turned out to be my number one super dog of all dogs. He's tearing his business up, and he has the walking dead man story, okay? So I found one super dog. Then months go by, and I'm thinking, I just got lucky. I can't do this again. I just got lucky. No other people exist like this, right? And you know what? I kept following the behaviors. I went to building depth, and you know what? It's funny. The next time I went to building depth, it just so happened he'd been in the business 1 week. I promoted building depth like crazy. He came with me, and he turned out to be my second super dog, if you will, okay? I have a lot of great people in my business, but there's a few people that just make this thing happen, okay? But you know what I did being human and going back to my flesh? After a few months, I thought, I just got lucky twice somehow. I can't do this again, I was talking myself out of it, And you know what? I found another one. So hopefully I never have that again in my head. Sometimes we're slow learners. I think that's why we have to walk through trials sometimes God gives us, because sometimes that's the only way we think and learn, okay? But that was a side note. That was all for free, okay? When I started building depth, I was stuck at 38,000. Less than a year later, I went to 138,000, okay? Last month, I had my biggest month ever 164,000. So, it's working. It doesn't mean that it might not go back down, okay? It doesn't mean that I couldn't be Pro 8 next month. Praise the Lord if I am, okay? But at this point, I just enjoy helping others, and it's amazing that we're part of a business that the more we help somebody, that we get something in return. It's amazing. So
awesome. Bro, thank you so much. Thank you for your friendship. Thank you for your transparency. Thank you for your honesty. And bro, just like Lisa and I, we get emotional. Like we're like, oh, can we turn our camera off real quick? But we know that doesn't work, right, all the time. But I think that just when I look at guys like you, it lets me know and lets Nisa know that, I did a presentation the other day for 2 girls, and she's like, you enrolled 50 some people and you make this much money. And, and I was like, she's like, but you've helped so many people. And I think James would agree with me that the best thing about the long-term diving in and really learning building depth and going is that you get to meet more people, you develop more leaders, and it creates duplication, which, as James said, I'm not going to say that what other people are doing are not right, but we got away from what got us to the $200 million company. And now the leaders, Marcel and Tyler, James talked about Marcel. I had my best conversation ever with Tyler. He took me out in the hall at Building Depth. It was probably one of the highlights of my LifeVantage career, sitting out in the hallway for 45 minutes, having an intimate personal relationship with one of the founding distributors of this company. So James, tell your wife and your family thank you for letting me steal you for a little bit. And I'm just honored that you came on. Guys, I'm going to finish. I've got like 10 minutes left of what I'm going to share with you guys. And I'm going to share a little bit of personal development stuff with you guys that we do every single week. And guys, I'm really super excited every week because I pray about what I want to share with you guys. And tonight's stuff that I've got to share with you guys is going to be awesome. I really think it fits in how God kind of works it out for us to share this information with you guys is that it really ties in with what we have talked about. And, you know, when I come and I get the opportunity to share these things with you guys on Wednesday nights, you can see there's a picture of Lisa and I and Eric Thomas. And I shared this with you guys a couple weeks ago that Eric and I he's going to be on my television program. And Lisa had the privilege of telling him things that he really was encouraged by. He came at an event that we were at Thrive and spoke the day before to our intimate group of our mastermind. And he asked everybody what they wanted him to speak about. And then he sat down and Cole made all of us tell Eric the impact that he had on their lives. And guys, I'm human. Like Lisa can tell you, I had a bad day today, right? Like I just wasn't myself. And I had a phenomenal day the previous couple days. And I think the reason why this is so important about talking about tonight is redefining failure. Okay. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm a science geek. And as you heard James say, he didn't really care much about science. And one of the things that I've known is I've followed and researched and just loved what Thomas Edison did. I have these huge lights right here right now. And to think that had Thomas Edison not done what he did, we wouldn't have these. So if you look at what this says here, and I'll be real quick, all right? It says, failing is inevitable. The more you try, the more you fail. You heard James talk about it. He kept going and going and going, and he found one, and he thought, oh, I'm just lucky. The more you fail, the more lessons you take away. You heard that from him too. The more you learn those lessons, you quickly become the best version of yourself. It says better, and when I read it, I thought we can become the best version of ourselves. It's part the best version of yourself. Exactly. It's what biohacking is, right? And it says the important mindset here is that you overcome failure and not let failure overcome you. Guys, this message is for somebody on this call tonight, okay? Probably me, right? Probably me or her. So she's pointing at me, I'm pointing at her. So it's good. So it's for both of us.
At least they didn't see me pointing at you. I was doing it down here.
Right. So rather than letting those failures defeat you, make them valuable lessons or stepping stones to your success down the road. And I like what this says about Thomas Edison. Shared that mastering the invention of the light bulb took him 1,000 tries before he was successful. A reporter asked him, how did you fail 1,000 times? Edison profoundly responded, the light bulb was an invention with 1,000 steps. Wow.
That's good.
That is awesome. And then unlike Edison, the majority of humans shy away from potential failing. The fear of failure, fear of success. My wife and I talk about it all the time. The failure of, however, it's not avoidable. It is human nature to fail and will happen sooner or later, right? You are the biggest critic when it comes to failure. If it's objective and you're the only, and you are only that gets to label your action as failing, it is all about your outlook, and a paradigm shift is very likely necessary. Changing, flipping something different, doing some different behaviors. This is not an easy business. You heard James say it. He went from 38,000 to 138 to 168. Why? Because he never gave up. He texted me today when he said, Mike, I'm doing three-way phone calls after I go do something with my daughter. I'll jump on at the beginning. You know, what a servant leader. Guys, these are reasons why you should invite your team and text your team all the time and say, hey, look, you need to hear this information. So look at what it says here. It says, finding joy in the journey rather than sadness and feeling of defeat can make all the difference. Thomas Edison also said, I have not failed. I just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Wow, right? So, and then I love this from John C. Maxwell's books, Failing Forward, one of his many bestsellers, New York Times bestsellers. And he says in this book, and he talks about how failure is not the enemy. There are hard, difficult things along the path to success. Failure is not the enemy, but it is the fertilizer. Now think about it. I love this when he said this. Without failures, you would not be able to produce abundance of success. You heard James talk about it. He also discusses how society has made failing a stigma, a disgrace, a shameful thing, right? However, it is not a stigma. It is courageous, guys. It takes courage to try and try again. It takes courage to fail. We laughed about this. We don't watch much TV, but every once in a while we are big fans of Survivor. I don't know if you guys like it or not. She's pointing at me, but she watches it with me now.
I'll watch it with you.
But this year it's David versus Goliath. And you know, when you looked at it, we first looked at it, we thought, wow, these are people that have failed. Oh, and that's what they said. They said these are people who have failed and failed and failed. Well, guess who won the first challenge? The Davids, right? And so think about that when you think about it. It says the entire process of succeeding must start with effort and action on your part. Trying again oftentimes can seem intimidating. However, most of us, we know this, are not going to follow up. We're not going to continue to share 5 times when that's when 80+% of the people sign up, right? It says learn from your mistakes, guys. It's really easy. Look, it says avoid them in the future. Roll up your sleeves and try again. Every misstep along the way is an opportunity to learn, grow, and start again. Once you accept the new definition of failure, it is then that you'll be able to move ahead and succeed. You must pay this price of acceptance in order to achieve success. In order to change your attitude and outlook, you need to look inward. I did it today. I sat by myself and I prayed and I spent some time with God, and I just left that stuff where I was. I played some golf. I came back. I played really good, and I was like, okay, maybe I should go play golf after that, whenever that happens again. But it was me being able to realize what inward actions were coming out. And it says, look at the good and the bad within yourself and strive to understand. I know areas I have to work on. Lisa is phenomenal at communication. I'm better, but I need to get better, okay? It says, number 1, humble yourself. Admit your flaws. I think that it's better when you admit your flaws publicly, because the Bible even tells us that if we confess our sins and our flaws before man, I think it's good. I think it's being transparent. I think it's being vulnerable. I think these things are good that bring healing and push us forward, teaching us. A lot of you guys have been in this business for a long time and have never got to where you need to get to be successful because we've not looked inward. And then he finishes with this. Maxwell discusses that not pursuing what you want is an issue of motivation. That not achieving it is an issue of persistence. Let your missteps, mistakes, and failures propel you into the next efforts for the next try could be your success. So, guys, I hope that you guys were super blessed by having James on today. I'm just, I'm super honored that we get to connect and be around people like that. If you have a month to register for convention, I would tell you guys to start doing that. People are registering every week. But guys, just go. Change your plans.
Mention the 100 points if you attend.
Yeah, you get 100 points.
Trip.
Yeah, towards the island trip. And Lisa and I are, when we come back, Lisa and I are going on a cruise next week. We still are going to have a call. I'll just tell you that we're going to have a couple guests that are on that you will. Yeah. And so, guys, they're always great. And but I want to just say, and Mike just said he met James at Life Fantasy Academy in Indianapolis.
Yep.
And I always end with this. We have about 2 to 3, 4 minutes left. Okay. I just want to say, does anybody have a comment or something that they want to share before we go? Maybe something that's came up this week that maybe a win, or something that you took away from what James said, or that you took away from what we just shared. And just unmute yourself and comment if you'd like to. I usually like to open it up at the ask because a lot of people say this is very impactful. So anybody want to make a comment or say anything? Let's go for it.
Hey, Mike, this is Jeff. Good call tonight.
Thank you, Jeff. Anybody
Hey,
else?
Mike. Hey, Mike, this is Mike. The follow-up, boy, this is really coming through. I've been on a couple of guys right now, and I just sent a couple of text messages. Did you watch the video? And I've got a couple of responses back. Not really. So I'm going to keep following up until I get them to watch the video, and then get on a 3-way call.
That's it. Set it up ahead of time. You know what I do? I never give them the video unless I know when they're going to watch it and I can call them back. And I like what Sherry Hollenbeck says. I get in front of them as often as I can. If I can't, I make sure I know when they're going to watch it. And I tell them, hey, look, when are you going to watch it? I'm going to call you right after that because I know you're going to have questions. I know you're going to be excited. And I want to get your questions answered. And then that's exactly what I do. Lisa and I do not give the video to anybody anymore. So that might be something that you can, going forward, Mike, you can just hold on to it until you can set up a time when you know they're going to watch it. And then you can get me or Lisa or Chris or whoever on the phone with them to get them to the next step. That's what we're going to learn at Building Depth. I'm super excited about the duplication in the learning process. So anybody else have a comment or a question or just want to throw something, add something in?
Hey, Mike, it's Ben.
What's up, Ben?
Hey, it was a great call tonight. I really liked your guest speaker tonight. That was cool.
Yeah, James is a good guy, man. Thanks for that.
Yeah, but I really liked the story and stuff, and just letting you know that a lot of the seeds that I've planted over the time, they're starting to blossom and starting to flower. So things are going to be really happening here really soon. Really
Good.
soon.
Congratulations.
And my goal really is to get to Utah, and that's like my number one priority right now.
That's it. And then Q just said people are always watching, and that's true. That's exactly true.
Yep.
Yeah, people are always watching. You know, one of the things that I tell Lisa and I talk about all the time is that people watch how you interact. They watch what you say on Facebook. They watch if you're positive. Let me tell you that one of the number one things that I took away from every single thing that we've been to, and I'm just going to tell you guys this so that it's going to speak to somebody. Okay? People want to do 3 things. They want to like you, and they want to trust you. And that should be number one goal whenever you're posting anything on Facebook or you're talking about anything. You want people to know, like, and trust you. And as soon as you feel like that, like you want to relate to everybody. You're not going to see me being negative on Facebook. I'm just not going to do it. You're not going to see me being negative on social media because people pick up on that. They stop following you. Okay? You don't want to be a people pleaser. You know, I'm getting rid of a ton of people on Facebook. I'm changing people that I'm working with. You know, I'm about to do a massive campaign to help you guys educate your customers. I'm working on that tomorrow, and I'll have it ready by Saturday. So, guys, yeah, hopefully. And so, does anybody else before we go? I've got time for maybe 1 or 2 more comments or questions. Anybody else want to share?
Another amazing meeting there, Mike. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Stacy. Glad to have you on, brother.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Hey, I just want to let you guys know, next week you guys are going to be on your cruise. You've asked me to do the call, and it's kind of funny what your what you're talking about right now, because what I want to work on is I've been working on something that really helps with online, and it'll help you in other businesses too. But how to be an irresistible influencer where you become an attractive, likable character or voice with an intentional problem-solving content. So as we're on Facebook or we're doing Facebook Lives, we're going to be able to provide content that makes us look like an authority to people who don't really know us, and we get to them to come into our pages and like it and invite them in, and then they start realizing it's kind of like if you look at a cop or a doctor or whatever, you know, they put a uniform on, they become an authority, a teacher, someone that someone is going to listen to and follow. And what I've been working on lately is something that is going to help everybody become that authority figure, become that likable character and voice, and become that, you know, the authority figure that everyone wants to follow and listen. And it's going to help grow your business in a big way, because you're going to find people and target people that want what you want because of the way you set the content. So it just was kind of funny you just said that.
Well, it's funny you bring that up, because my one of my buddies, Brian Bowman, who does all of the Facebook ads and social media stuff for Thrive for Cole, along with John Dennis, which I wish John was still working, because I would have him do Facebook ads for me. He retired. He made a lot of money, and now him and his wife are about to travel around the country in an RV. But it's exactly what Brian said to us today. That exact same thing that Chris is just talking about. You know,
portray yourself as the expert and gain the trust.
Gain the know, like, and trust. Those three words right there, and become that expert. So, you know, just stand out, guys. We are super honored that we get to do these calls with you guys every single week, and how we are just blessed. We are super, super blessed. So I just wanted to say thanks for joining tonight, and I pray that you guys will continue to invite people to join these calls. You know, we won't, as I said, we will not be on the call next week. I know Chris has a special call plan. I'm going to turn some people on to him that I think will be good guests that he can have on too. But guys, just know that things are cranking. Things we're coming to some crucial times with LifeVantage, you know, with the stock going up and new leaders coming to the company every single day. And so there's a lot of great things happening. So God bless you guys. Thank you so much for joining. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to let you all know that there's not going to be a Tuesday opportunity meeting. All right. So I just want to kind of give you the heads up on that. We're not going to be doing one this Tuesday, and we'll take it from there on the way back. And thank you, Chris, for being able to host and do the call on Thursday.
Just keep inviting guys to your opportunity, to everything that you do. And we'll look forward to seeing you guys when we get back. And those of you that are going to Utah, we're super excited about that. Convention is one of the most incredible times. You get to see people from all around the world, and you just get to have a lot of fun and learn a lot. And there's going to be a building depth event at convention that I want you guys to know. If you're on my team, get prepared to ready to go to that, because we'll know more about it this week, and we're going to learn about the LV coaching thing. So guys, have an amazing rest of your night, and have a great weekend, and finish the month strong, guys. Remember to go back through your offices. All the auto ships are going. Make sure credit cards are run. We're going the next couple of days, having our administrative assistant check everything all the way through the weekend to make sure that people's credit cards, because people's things go expired and they don't get their product. We have people that call us every week saying, "Hey, I didn't get my Pro Tandem." Okay, just go back and double check everything. Make sure all your distributors have their auto ships. And guys, we will see you in 2 weeks. All right, love you guys.